guys, welcome back to the shop. As you can see, we're working on this plate. I've got a 60 grit flap disc on there, and it's really working to try to get this stuff off of this thing. I'm wondering if maybe I ought to soak it down a little WD-40 or something and let it sit for a little while, kind of see if it'll penetrate that and loosen it up a little bit. That's really some hard stuff, and you don't want to use a regular grinding disc on it because then you'll end up with little divots and stuff in it, and we don't want that. I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to continue to work on this, and we're going to use that plate to put on top of the plate on our grinder here, so that we have a nice perfectly flat surface for doing for beveling our using our beveling jig, doing our bevels on our knives, on our hunting knives. So yeah, I'm going to be here all day at the rate that it's going, so I'm going to see if I can't. I'm going to soak that down with a little WD and let it sit for a little while, and we'll be back here in a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being here. Well, I didn't want to do it, guys, but I sprayed some WD-40 on there, let it set for quite a while, wiped it off, and started trying to use that flap disc again. I'm telling you, that layer of rust over that thing was pretty thick. There was no getting it off of there with a flap disc. I had to go ahead and use a regular grinding disc, but it's not horrible. We should be able to clean that up now with the flap disc. As you can see this end here where I was started on it with a flap disc, but man, I was killing myself and I almost wore out a flap disc just trying to get started. So we should get the rest of it looking like that with the flap disc now, hopefully, because I want that to be really smooth. Another mistake I made when I was building this, when I was building my jig, my sharpening jig, I didn't clean up the ends of these bolts, and you can see how these bolts have this little ridge. You know what I mean? There's like a little cup on the end. It's got that little sharp ridge around there. Those need to be rounded off and cleaned up real nice, because they end up scraping and dragging on your tool rest, and they want to hang up sometimes. You know, that's that sharp edge of that bolt. It's trying to cut in to this plate, and so it kind of hangs up and wants to drag real rough. So we need to round these off real nice, like just like a little dome on the end of them, just a nice smooth little round dome, and get rid of that groove and that little cup in the end of those bolts, and that will help that thing to slide a lot better, because when it's on here like this, it's wanting to kind of hang up a little bit here and there, and you can see on here where, and then this wasn't as smooth as it should have been either, I don't think, but yeah, we're going to try to address all of that by using this deal here. Now that rust on there was really thick. I mean, the flap disc wasn't, it was really working its butt off trying to get any of it off. I mean, we're still flat. It's just kind of scary using this because it wants to, you can cut a groove in there if you go back and forth in one spot for too long, but we just made sure to keep it moving, keep it going, and not stay in one spot too long. And now the flap disc, you know, and if you have the tiniest little, hump or valley here and there, it'll be so minute it's not going to make any difference. That plate that we built, it warped really bad when I welded it, and then I ran it over the truck trying to straighten it out, and we ended up just kind of, you know, putting one of these deals in both ends of it, and then a hump in the middle. So you can really feel, you run your hand over that, you can really feel how messed up it is. So we got that bad boy ground off. We'll hit it with our flap disc now and try to get it real cleaned up. I'm going to try to sand this one up really clean, and we'll get some holes tapped in it and get it bolted to that tool rest. there we go, guys. I think we've got this surface in good shape. It doesn't look real shiny and reflective, and you can see a little bit of the some of that rust pitting and what have you that we just couldn't get out of there without really getting into it with the grinder. The only way you're going to get this perfect would be like with a surface grinder that I don't have. So, but believe me, this is just as smooth can be. There are a couple of little spots here where you can feel a little pitting that, you know, that you can actually feel. But for the most part, this is just as smooth can be. And the most important part is we're level. I mean, this thing is as flat as can be, and my level's not real good. I bent my level somehow, but anyway, it's really flat. We'll be able to slide our jig back and forth here now without you know, it catching and what have you. This other one, I cleaned it up pretty good, but had a lot of scratches in it and what have you, so it was still pretty rough. But the worst part of that one was the bolt. It was bent and it angled down on both sides. It had a hump right here in the center, right where the right next to the plant, and right where it goes over where I welded this bracket here. So as you can see, if we look up under here, it's probably pretty hard to see, but it's, you know, it's pretty, you can see daylight under there on both sides, and there's a hump right here in the middle. So I'm pretty sure that hump is what was causing our jig here. You know, it's flat. That's nice and flat. So we had that hump in the middle that, you know, it was having to, it would ride up over that hump. Well, that was changing our bevels, and now we're sitting nice and flat. So I think this thing's going to work out great. Now we got to drill some holes in our plate, in our tool rest, and then drill some holes into our plate here so that we can run some little nuts right up through here and into this plate just to steady it. Like I said, I really don't think it would go anywhere. This thing is an inch thick steel plate and it weighs a ton. But when you have the grinder on, you've got that little bit of vibration. It may be able to move on us, so we'll just go ahead and stick a couple of little bolts in that bottom just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. we got our semi-perfectly flat plate bolted on there. I think you saw in the video I broke my tap. I had to tap that second hole using that broken tap with a pair of vice grips. For whatever reason, it won't tap as deep as I wanted it to, but there's no vibration in that grinder, and I'm really not looking to bolt it on there tight. I just need those two bolts in it so it can't slide around. So we got enough threads up in there with both bolts that it's going to sit there all right. You can see we couldn't get those bolts all the way up in there. I couldn't get it to tap that deep, and I tried too hard on the one side and broke my tap. But, you know, I'm pulling on that pretty hard. It's not going anywhere. It's there, it's tight, you know what I mean? It's fine. We can get our deal up here, and we'll be able to slide it real nicely on there and do our bevels. So all in all, I'm happy with it. Like I said, it's not polished to a sheen. But you don't need it to be polished up like chrome. You just need it to be smooth so that this doesn't catch on anything. So I believe we accomplished our goal. I wanted to get some more done today, but it's getting kind of late. It took me a while longer to get the top of that plate smoothed out like I wanted it. Like I say, it's got to be real smooth so that your jig will slide nicely on there, and it does slide well. Unfortunately, I can't take those bolts out of that jig. I don't have an angle square. I need to get one, so I need to leave it right where it is to do the other side. We got this side done. I want to try to clean this up now that we don't have that hump in there. I want to run this side just a little more, but we still have to do this side. And if I move those bolts, then I'm not going to get it exactly the same again. So for now, we have to leave those bolts in, and in another video we'll get this knife flipped around. Well, we'll try to fix this first side a little bit better, but then we'll flip it around and we'll get the other bevel ground, and then we'll go ahead and get it, we'll normalize it a couple times. Now, even though we didn't beat it on the anvil, you're still doing that grinding and all that shaping, and you're getting that steel pretty hot. And I don't think you really need to do all that, but I'm going to do it anyway. I did all that with this knife. This was a stock removal knife, but I still went ahead and I normalized it 2 cycles, and then I annealed it for a couple of hours in my bucket of floor dry, and then we went ahead and quenched it and then tempered it, and it came out real straight and nice, and it hardened up just hard as a rock. So we'll do the same thing with this one when we get back to doing those bevels and that. So I'm happy with that. Think it's going to work just fine. I mean, it just weighs a ton, but thankfully we've got that Oregon blade maker is bolted to the bench. The motor is bolted down. I mean, everything is bolted down nice and tight, and it's a good strong machine, and so that weight's not going to bother that. It makes it a little higher. I'm running out of planting up there. I wouldn't be able to do like I might be able to do a cleaver if it wasn't too thick, you know what I mean? But I don't make a lot of cleavers. In fact, I've never made a cleaver. I would like to make one though, but that would have to be forged on the anvil. So anyway, got her done. We're ready now. In our next video, we'll go ahead and we'll get our knife. We'll finish our bevels on our knife. It's getting kind of late. I need to get some dinner, and I have work tomorrow, I guess. I was off Monday and today, but we got work tomorrow hauling salt. We had this big storm come in, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the salts had used up a lot of their salt in the valley. So a lot of times we haul salt up to Idaho, but tomorrow we're just hauling it to the various state and county sheds around the Salt Lake City area. So we got another storm supposed to come in tomorrow night, into Thursday morning. So they want to. It was a beautiful day today. It was clear and nice and colder than all get out, but it was a nice clear day. And tomorrow's supposed to be pretty good too until late in the afternoon, early evening, something like that. That next storm is supposed to come in, so I think they want to grab a good day and get some salt back in these sheds, so they're ready, they're prepared. So that's what we get to do tomorrow. So I'm going to bag it for this video. I'm going to go get some dinner, get cleaned up, probably do some laundry, you know, the normal things that a bachelor does. And I got to get to bed early because I got to be out there at the salt place really early in the morning. Went way earlier than I care to think about. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We do a lot of cool stuff in here. Ring that little bell, you'll get notified when I upload a new video. You never know what we're going to be doing. We got a little monster truck here we got to get done by spring. Working, trying to get a couple hunting knives made here, but I need to get all this stuff set up properly. So once we get done with Scott's knife, then I'm going to take those bolts out. I'm going to round them off on the ends real nice, give them a nice kind of a rounded feel to them, get rid of those little sharp edges I was showing you earlier, and we'll be able to slide that a lot nicer. We'll do a little work on the bottom of that angle iron that we used, smooth it up a little more, and I need to get me an angled square so I can figure out how many degrees we're working with, you know. So again, thanks for being here, guys. Always take care of yourself when you're working in your shop. Use your safety gear, be safe, use your head, and get out to your shop, do something, build something, tear something up, fix something, whatever it might be. Just get out there and have fun. We're gonna go get some dinner. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.